The video that I did yesterday about Simba Chikanza versus Apostle Chiwenga and the story of divorce and everything, it actually opened up a can of worms of a story that I'd missed about Simba Chikanza allegedly, not allegedly, Simba Chikanza accusing Aljazeera of unfairly dismissing him, and he even took them to court, but unfortunately he lost that case. Very. That paints you a picture of how deranged Simba Chikanza is. I'm just trying to wrap my head around the thinking or the imagination that is going on through Simba Chikanza, just because of sheer jealousy that he has over Hopewell or any other journalist that is based in Zimbabwe. I know, guys, you know Simba Chikanza, eyepiece out by UK. When it comes to breaking news, Simba Chikanza was, the guy to go to. He had that domination from somewhere around 2016, 2017, 2018. And the stance that he put just after the 2018 elections, calling vice president and calling him in 2019 and calling Opam Chinguri and doing all those stunts that he did, it made him to be like, we even praised him. But I think that euphoria kind of like it stayed with him, and it made him to feel like there's nobody that's going to come close. That is bad. But anyway, I was reading the whole judgment. It has got 36 points that are there on that judgment. And when I started reading them, and I started realizing, Simba Chikanza, let me just break it down what is in that judgment. Firstly, Simba Chikanza was contracted by Aljazeera, not as an employee, but as a research consultant. I'll tell you what it is. Some of you have seen some of the videos that I've done on Zimbo Live. Some of you have seen some of the videos that I've done on Zim Celebs. It's that kind of arrangement. These guys, I go and get content. We have an agreement, and I give it to them. It's an arrangement that we can have. It would be very naive for me to then go and say that I am employed by Zimbo Life or I'm employed by Zim Celebs. We have an agreement, we have an arrangement, but that does not constitute to employment. That is the same scenario that Simba Chikanza, the Gold Mafia, he was credited as one of the research consultant. And good for him, for his career. But he lost it by now starting to attack Hopewell when Aljazeera then started to ask Hopewell's comment, because Hopewell is sort of like a face of most investigative journalists in Zimbabwe, and being somebody that was put in jail and persecuted for asking about these things, it was the kind of a go-to for Aljazeera, because they look for numbers, they look for demographics. Looking at Simba, he has not been in jail in Zimbabwe at any given time. He's been, speaking from UK. So it would make sense to interview somebody who has been vocal about corruption, who has made international news, and that is where the jealousy came in. And Al Jazeera, he started saying that Al Jazeera must pay him, and then he said that Al Jazeera was now it unfairly dismissed him, when they clearly just had an agreement during and before the Gold Mafia was aired. After it was aired, everything ceased. It's a contract. It's finished. No, a guy move. So Simba Chikanza had that naivety to go all the way to take Al Jazeera to court, and he lost. So to me, looking at all these things and dating back to when he was attacking Apostle Chiwenga and all of that, I now start to see, okay, that's the kind of a person he is. As as a fellow journalist, it's not something that I wish my brother to be going through. I don't know if he's going through some mental challenges or whatever, but I think that it is very, very naive for him to be having such a mentality, because clearly, it is clear that Simba Chikanza has a problem, and the problem that he has is just something that he needs to wake up from, the fact that people that are in Zimbabwe, they can create even better content than him, or they can get better news hookups, and they can get better news sources than him. Look at me. I started when I was in Zimbabwe, when I was in South Africa, and there were other content creators that came after me. One of them is Nyati, one of them is Taiti. Like, there are a number of content creators that have come after me. But I've never been jealous to such an extent whereby I talk or I publicly go after them and all of that. I can criticize them, yes. Criticize a fellow journalist or a fellow content creator or somebody in the industry once. But when it becomes now your agenda to say, like right now, I can criticize Nyata, I can criticize Taiti, like when it becomes your agenda, then it's now totals of jealousy. Everyone is supposed to be criticized, but when it comes to a point whereby yatoefofa wakutokritizana, kundai shima, zigo, uncle saint, zvakati, it's now fofa, I'm criticizing them left, right, and center. Then it ceases to become a critique or a correction or something that somebody has done something wrong. But what do you make of Simba Chikanza and him losing a case against Aljazeera? I'm really, really concerned. As much as I am making this video, I'm very, very concerned about Simba Chikanza's mental health or his mental state. It leaves a lot to be desired.